Goldylocks Productions broadcasts universal cosmic frequencies that unlock, awaken, and expand the consciousness of our worldwide viewers and listeners.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Enjoy the Goldylocks Productions presentation of the In the Psychic Flow Show with Carolan Carey.
Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us here in the Psychic Flow, where we explore the magical, the mystical, and everything in between. We are talking to you from Sarasota, Florida this evening, and we have a wonderful guest we're going to talk about tonight. I was so happy that Lea Chapin has joined us. Rev Lea Chapin is with us. We have a lot to explore with her. So if you have some questions for Lea, please put them in the comments. She has a wonderful website, which we're going to post, leachapin.com. And hello from New Hampshire. Hi, Chris. And so we are delighted to have you. Hi, B. We are delighted to have you joining us. I want to just speak about how wonderful our guest is, Lea Chapin. Reverend Lea Chapin is a psychotherapist. She has a master's in counselor education, and she has a BS in psychology. She is a teacher, an author. She is one of our new show hosts on Goldylocks Productions. She is the host of Inspiration from Spirit Show. So I hope you will join her there. She is an author, an associate pastor. She's a traveling guru on everything sacred. So we can't wait for that. We can't wait to hear those stories. So, and she's an author of these 3 books that we're going to talk about tonight, which are wonderful. So let's talk about the first one. In the fall of 2003, Reverend Lea started to record messages from Jesus Christ. And that was pretty inspirational. So that led to a book, I believe. But before that, March of 1993, Lea had a profound experience, which helped her develop all of these beautiful abilities that she has. She's going to talk about that with us. Her books are the Mastery Teachings, the 12 Mastery Teachings of Jesus, of Christ. The next book is Divine Union, the love story of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. And the third book, the new book, is called The Missing Holy Grail. Is that correct, Reverend Lea?
Yeah, that third book is still in progress. I've channeled that, so it isn't published yet, but it's still incubating. So I've gotten 22 chapters channeled. So I'm waiting to get, again, the hit to finish that book. So I assume that I need to do some more inner work before I can finish that book. That's kind of how it works with me. I work on something, then I let it sit for a while, and then all of a sudden I'll get the inspiration, and then I go like a mad person to get it done.
Let me just backtrack a minute. When you had this experience in 1993, you were having a Reiki treatment. Were you experiencing treatment? Mm-hmm. And what happened?
So, well, back up a little bit. I think it was 1986, I had gone to a lady that did psychic readings, and I was a psychotherapist working in Lakeland, Florida at that time, and I was just a new metaphysical student, so I didn't know too much about anything. And she told me that I had the ability to channel. So she taught me some techniques of doing automatic handwriting and using a pendulum. And then you know how life goes. You're like, oh, okay, well, then you move on. And my life changed. And I moved back to Illinois, to my hometown here in Galesburg, Illinois. And I changed professions and became a massage therapist. And then on that day of March 21st, 1993, I was getting a Reiki session from a friend. And I remember thinking I'm supposed to get a message. And so what I thought was going to happen was that I was just going to get some awareness that would bubble up during the Reiki session, that something that I needed to work on or heal. And then lo and behold, I began to channel my spirit guide, Grand, who this psychic had told me about 7 years prior.
Wow.
I hadn't thought about channeling. I hadn't thought about Grand because I was in a whole new way of working in my massage business. And so I was into metaphysics, but I wasn't into channeling. And so all of a sudden it was like turning on a light switch, which is really true. I started channeling Gran. I knew who he was. And then it was like I knew what I was doing. And from that day forth, then I've been able to do it ever since. So I worked with Gran for 4 years. Then I started working with the archangels. And I remember when Archangel Michael came and he says, "Don't you remember me?" And I, like sheepishly said, "No, I don't remember you." And then in 1997, I started channeling the Holy Family, Mother Mary and Jesus and Mary Magdalene. And that was like even more of a shock because at that time, I didn't realize my connection to the Holy Family. I believed in God, but I wasn't raised in church. I didn't go to church. I was a metaphysical student. I wasn't religious. And so, I associated this with religion and Catholicism, and I wasn't Catholic. So it's like, why are they coming to me? So I have to laugh about that. But, as the story goes, I was told that I lived in the lifetime of Jesus, and I was Jesus' cousin and Mother Mary's niece, and that Mother Mary had raised me, and that I was Mary Magdalene's best friend at that time, in that time period. So that is the reason I have this connection to the Holy Family and have written these books. But at that time, in 1997, I was clueless. So,
wow, that's
totally
a lot of
clueless.
work. It's a lot of work,
What's
a
that?
lot of years to develop, to have all this handed to you and then do it. It's like your roadmap is laid out for you and you did it.
I did, yes. To be honest, ever since when Gran came in 1993, in all honesty, I've devoted my life to spirit. So that's really been my whole life, is connecting to spirit and being able to not only help myself, but to be able to help serve others. So for the past 27 years, I've devoted my life and my work and my ability to channel, combining it with my psychotherapy practice and my ability to hear spirit to help people with their problems from what I call a new spiritual perspective. Because I remember when I was working as a mental health therapist, that some of the listeners may have already heard this if they've tuned in to my show, that I just knew there was a better way of helping people. And that was actually before this channeling experience. It was probably 1987, I think. And I just remember having a vague feeling there was a better way of helping people, but I didn't know what it was. So for me, that was like my soul telling me, something was coming, but I didn't know what it was. And then when I started channeling, then I was able to hear spirit, combine my work together, and it's been a really from the Akashic Records. What's that?
We lost your sound just a little bit there, so.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's a lovely marriage because I'm able to access the information from spirit and from the Akashic Records to help people understand aspects of their past lives that are affecting their current lives. So situations or relationships or health issues or behavioral issues, we can go back into the Akashic Records and then tap into what's happening with that person currently.
I would imagine your background as a psychotherapist is tremendously helpful.
It is. It really is. Yeah, for me personally, it's really helpful because I remember my first counseling job. I was 26. I was a young therapist, and I remember my boss saying, "It doesn't matter if you never help anybody, but just don't hurt someone." And I always remembered that. And so for me to be able to have the psychotherapy education and begin to work in the spiritual realm, to me, I take this as really serious, and that it's my responsibility to serve the person to the best of my ability. So being able to have that counseling degree, I feel confident that I can best serve someone.
Beautiful. And so, after these profound experiences, you started, what year did your Mastery Teachings book come out? When that was the first book, correct?
Yeah, that was my first book. That came out in 2003. Christ had asked me to bring these teachings forward. I first put them into an audio book, and then I put it into print form. And then just most recently, then I re-recorded that audio book, and it's on MP3 now, available on my website at leachapin.com. So that work was 17 years ago, and which was interesting because at that time, I remember I had worked on that book for about a year and a half. And when I got it, it was only like 78 pages. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, my book is so little. What happened to my book? You know, after you work on it all that time and then you get it and it's like so little. But Christ had told me, I remember hearing in my head, he said, do not berate this. He says, this is a very, very powerful inspirational book. It may be small, but it's really powerful. So I have people use it as an inspirational guide, kind of like a daily guidepost where you would read the daily guidepost. You would read a chapter of love or hope or peace. And if you need that inspiration or forgiveness, then you can read the chapter and then receive the subliminal healing, because Christ said he has this vibrational healing in the words and in the sound in the audiobook for people to embody and to embrace these teachings.
That's beautiful. Our mutual friend, Mr. Jeremy Ryden, he said he is reading your lessons from Jesus, and he said it's very good from your lessons. So I assume he's talking about mastery teachings that he must have heard.
Good.
And so
yes,
he's enjoying that.
Thank you, Jeremy. I wasn't sure if you've received it yet. I put it in the mail, so thank you. Now I know you got it, so I can check that off the list. And,
yes. Yes.
Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate that.
Yeah, he's very interested in that. And then the next book, this is fascinating. The Divine Union, the love story of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. So you've explained your past life, why you were chosen for this particular volume of work. Were you surprised by the information that you're getting? Were you astounded? Were you touched, or were you just taking it down and saying, okay, maybe you didn't have any feelings one way or the other, is what I'm asking.
Some of the information I already knew because I'd been working with Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and so they've been telling me their story since 1997. So some of it was surprising, some of it was not. The premise of the story is that Jesus and Mary Magdalene are twin flames, and that they knew each other as children. So that, as the story goes in our Bible, that Jesus had rescued her and she was a prostitute, and so in the information that I received, they grew up, they were friends.
Oh, okay.
And so they worked together as sacred twin flames. They eventually married, had a family. Mary Magdalene helped Jesus before, during, and after the crucifixion. And in the story, it talks about how Jesus already knew about what we call the Great Design, that he was preparing himself to be crucified, and that he physically lived on, that he did not die. That's the story that we know as the Bible, that this was really that he continued to live on and continued his post-ministry work, where there's many people say they have sightings of him in other countries after the crucifixion. He literally did travel and continue to teach, and he and Mary Magdalene joined together in their sacred union to be able to help bring the balance of the divine masculine and divine feminine onto our planet. So that really was their sacred contract, was to hold that sacred energy for our planet to return to balance, because as we know now, our planet is in need of balance, that we're in this time of really strong, chaotic purification energy, I call it, that's allowing us to shift and let go of the old paradigms so that the energy of the sacred mother, sacred father, energy of balance come back to all of us, and we can live in peace and harmony. So it's a long story in terms of it has its twists and turns, and yet the story is really about we can all move into our sacred partnership with ourselves, return to balance so that we can be the peace and the change that we wish to see on this planet. So that's kind of the long and the short of that.
Beautiful. Please check out Lea Chapin's website, leachapin.com. We have it posted here so you get the spelling of her name correct. Lea has all of her books that are finished for sale. A couple of other books are also audio, in audio format as well. So I happen to like those. Like if you're driving or walking or whatever, I think that's a great thing to have. You also have your lessons there, your classes. I imagine you book your readings. Now, reading with you must be fascinating. Tell me about how your readings work for our listeners and viewers, what they can expect. I'm fascinated by that.
Oh, okay. Well, I work with the Ascended Masters. I work with Archangel Michael a lot. I work with Jesus. I work with Mary Magdalene. I work with Mother Mary. I work with Priestess Isis. So I'm considered a versatile channel. So I don't work with one particular being. I also am a psychic medium, so I can access those who have crossed over. I also work with the Galactic Federation, so I'm able to channel the Palladians, the Andromedans, the Syrians. So for whatever reason, I'm able to access universal beings. I have no idea how I do that, but I'm able to do it. So when I do a reading, I ask people to just write down a list of questions that they want to ask Spirit. And then one of the beings will come. I typically work with Archangel Michael a lot. So I'll feel that being's energy. I telepathically hear their words, and then I just begin to speak, and Spirit will begin to address their questions one by one by one. They know all about that person, and so they'll bring the higher spiritual perspective of what's going on to that person. So twofold, they'll bring the information so the person has a greater understanding of their problem. And then if the person needs to have a spiritual healing to clear any energetic blocks or old past life imprints, then Spirit will come in and actually do energy clearing. So if the person is energy sensitive, they'll actually feel a shift. Even if they're not energy sensitive, the work has already happened. All that I ask you to do is just be open to receive. You don't have to necessarily understand it, but it's very important to be able to keep your heart open. So that if you want to change, if you want to shift your energy, then just remain your heart open. So it's all directly channeled through my voice. It's an interactive process where I'll bring the information through, and then I'll stop and ask the person if they understand or need clarity. If they do, then Spirit will come in and continue to work and help that person. So it's a telepathic process where I'm accessing that information. Like I said, I get information that I would have no way of knowing as a traditional psychotherapist, and it's fast, it's effective, and what I find, people call me in the hour, they're all upset. By the time they get done with the hour, then they have a renewed understanding, and the crisis seems to be over. That's how I see it. So it's like, okay, all right, they feel better. So it's lovely. You've done your job, and you've helped the person to understand, and it's really, really, really a wonderful way to help people. I'm really blessed to be able to do that. So it makes me really happy.
It sounds like your readings are a beautiful healing experience. And so I'm so glad that you talked about that, because it's unique. What you do is very unique. Also, your website is gorgeous, lovely colors, and artwork is fabulous on your books. Did you want to mention who your illustrator is, or you don't want to, or is it you, or is it someone else?
No, this is, I always have stories. I'm somewhat of a storyteller. I went to Mount Shasta, California in February of 2017, because I knew that I had to go there to finish this book.
It's beautiful.
I had gone there in September of 2016. I take groups to different sacred sites. So I'd taken a group to Mount Shasta and led a group there. And I met a lovely lady named Mari Best, and she invited me to come back, and I took a month sabbatical to finish the book in February of 2017. At that time, the book was almost done, and I didn't have my cover. And I was twitting, judging myself, thinking, oh my God, I should have my book cover. Why don't I have, my book's almost done. What am I going to do? Well, I was out in Shasta, and I was at a local coffee shop, and all this, I have to laugh. All of a sudden, I started, I felt like I was a bloodhound or a rabbit, because I was like, my nose started twitching, and I was like, I was in this coffee shop. There wasn't hardly anybody in there. And I was like, there's something in here I'm supposed to know. There's something I'm supposed to find. And I'm like looking around, and I just started really sniffing. I was really weird. I have to laugh. And so I was like, what is it I'm supposed to find? There's something here. And ended up, I found this illustration of this lady that's a local artist named Sharonda Kamara, who lives locally in Mount Shasta, California, and she had some prints of this piece of the divine union of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. And so I saw that. That's what I was looking for. And I asked the owner, I said, because what I wanted for my book that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted something ethereal where their energies were entwined, and I wanted color. And so it was like perfect. So I asked the owner, did she know this person? She goes, oh, of course. So she gave me Sharonda's name and number, and then she agreed to let me have the copyright for my book. She did a few adjustments to it, but it's so interesting how spirit works, because I was at the end of the process of writing the book. Here I was judging myself that I hadn't found the cover, couldn't find anything, and then spirit, I was supposed to go to Shasta to find Sharonda's, print. And so what I've come to learn is everything works out the way it's supposed to. Don't get, twitted out about stuff, because, spirit knows what you need and they'll help you, and you just go with the flow.
Right.
Long story.
When you talk about you on your website, you have sacred journeys of places that you've been, I would assume, led to go to or to investigate. What pulls you to a certain spot? I noticed you were in Ireland as one spot, right? Was it Ireland?
Yeah, I went to Ireland 2 years ago. Went to Goldylocks in Dublin. Went to Belfast. My spiritual son, Jared Willis, I consider him my spiritual son. I don't have any children, so I have become an adopted mother to him. He's come like an adopted son to me. He lives in the Middle East. Actually, lives in the Middle East, Kuwait. Now is living in Oman, and he and his friend travel a lot, and so they wanted to take me to very sacred sites so that we could film and record me doing channeling work at some of these sacred sites. So we had gotten the idea 2 years ago when Anthony Bourdain died. I don't know if you remember Anthony Bourdain. He was on CNN, and unfortunately he committed suicide. I loved his show, and Jared and I we were really touched by that. And we thought, oh, well, perhaps we could go and bring the information like Anthony did with the food and going to the different countries, that we could go to different sacred sites and be able to share the sacred sites and be able to film that. I could channel the information, share the landscape, and educate people that people who couldn't afford to go or, weren't able to physically able to go, but they were able to receive the downloads of the information. So we went to Ireland in June of 2018. Then that fall, I went on a month tour with Jared. We went to Egypt. We went to the Great Pyramid. I did an activation in the Great Pyramid of Giza, which was really powerful, which is on my YouTube channel. We went to Jordan, to the Dead Sea. We went to Cyprus. I taught my first international class there. We were in where were we? Oh, we went to Turkey. We went to India. All that year in 2018, I was a traveling maniac.
Wow! And it's there's videos on your website too, I believe, right?
It's all documented onto my YouTube channel. If you Google Lea Chapin YouTube, you'll see all. Every week I channel the Mary Magdalene message. I've been doing that now probably for 15 years, and I put that audio recordings onto my YouTube channel. But all those sacred site journeys are also documented onto my YouTube channel, and then you can find that on my website. But that was the premise, that we would allow people to have those experiences, and many people have said they actually felt the energy, they felt the activation. They were right there with me, even though they weren't physically there. They were able to access that energy. So that was our purpose, and it seemed to have worked.
And how do people feel after an activation or a lesson with you? What's some of your feedback? How are people's lives changed by this? I would imagine your work changes lives. Wouldn't you say?
Yes, people tell me that. People have more clarity within life. They have more peace. With the activations, it helps people open up energetically. A lot of people are opening up more and more to their own psychic abilities, their own intuitive abilities. People are accessing energy in terms of being able to feel energy more, to be able to feel the energy, not only of the energy of the earth, but to be able to, they're opening up to be more empathic. So a variety of, throughout the years, I mean, people have told me that I've, have assisted them, or a spirit has assisted them. But for me, it's really that people are finding more peace and feeling more sense of empowerment and really feeling more alive and connected to their own spirit.
Beautiful. No, we certainly can use that right now, right? So we'll talk about that towards the end of the show. Let me ask you, how do you feel about taking a couple of questions from our listeners and viewers? People are queuing up. They have a few questions for you. Let's see.
That'd be great.
Okay, let's see what we have here. Let's see. B Mark, her name is B like in Bumblebee, last name Mark. She says, do you have any messages on my health, or whatever you would get would be wonderful? She's a lovely personality, joins a lot of our shows. Always open to receiving a message.
Greetings, dear daughter of light. Yes, it is Archangel Michael. We say to you, dear one, that your immune system is affected, and we say to you that it is affected by your own emotions. It is affected by your own fear. It is affected by your own sense of what we call self-worth. It is important that you begin to simply allow yourself to place your feet upon the ground, connect to the energy of the earth, allow the energy of Mother Earth to begin to feed you, to support you, so that you can begin to strengthen your immune system, begin to release your fear, begin to bring the energy of strength, of the light, and the energy of the essence of Mother Gaia into your being, as if you were filling every cell, every particle, every pore of your being with the energy of light, love, and healing. As you begin to truly begin to infuse your immune system, then your physical body will become stronger and stronger and stronger, and you will no longer have what you call those ailments, as you say, that are affecting you, of pain, joint pain, and bodily muscle aches. It appears as if you have suppressed many of your emotions, and it's time now that you begin to heal and to let the light, not only of the light of God, but Mother Gaia, to help support you, to strengthen your immune system, be at peace.
Oh, that's beautiful. What a fabulously healing message. B, I'm telling you, you really, you asked the right question, because you got a beautiful message there. We have another wonderful show host of Goldylocks Productions with us, Laura Romero, Angels and Healing Light. She show on Tuesdays, and she says, hello, beautiful and blessed ladies. See, so we have astrologer extraordinaire Jeremy Ryden and Laura Romero with us, show hosts. Let's see. Oh, here's Jules. So I have another question for you. Jules, Jules. Can I please ask what Lee gets from me regarding moving? Thank you. Jules.
Greetings, yes, dear one, is Archangel Michael. We see your move happening within 6 months. This is a time of what we call preparation for you to begin to clear out your old and to begin to release the past. This move that is happening for you is really a new beginning, and your life will begin to change exponentially. But it is important for you that you begin to clear away of what we call the past and now move forward not only physically moving, but you are moving forward in your consciousness to begin to start fresh, to start anew. You have many new opportunities, many new people, many new places, many new experiences. We also say you are moving into a new frequency or vibration. So your energy really is moving forward, which results in a physical move that solidifies the vibrational frequency that you are moving into. The alignment process of your soul is calling you now to leave the past, do not look back, and anticipate only good, for this is what you deserve. And we thank thee. So this is really more, I see you moving, but this is really more about you moving and moving forward in consciousness, letting go of all, again, that no longer serves you, releasing everything of the past that it feels like stagnant energy. So there's an excitement and an anticipation of a new life for you. That's what it feels like. So.
Wow, what a wonderful message. Very encouraging. Good for you, Jules. That was beautiful, Lee. Thank you so much. You know, I'm sure when you're channeling, you're sort of conscious, or you, correct me if I'm wrong, of information coming in, but perhaps do not recall word for word. Would that be correctly? Like the message is fresh. It's lacking your, you know, it comes through you, but not of you. Would that be the way you would explain your channel?
Yeah, I call it, it's a stream of consciousness that's just flowing through me. So I remember generally, but when I channel my Monday morning Mary Magdalene, somebody might call me a couple of days later and they'll say, oh, what was the Mary Magdalene message about? And I'm like, I don't know. I'd have to go back and listen. I have no idea. So it's a stream of consciousness that comes. It doesn't come from me. It just flows through me. And so I like to record my sessions for people so that they have that. And it's always funny because people will say, oh, you know, they'll start talking to me like I remembered their message. And I'm like, you might refresh my memory and I might, you know, I might get it. But yeah, it's not me. It's just flowing through me.
Right.
So.
Right. Well, it's a lovely message. It's absolutely gorgeous. We have another lady here, Amy Serena. She's a frequent flyer here on Goldylocks Productions. She says, I would like clarity on my life purpose and what is blocking me now. Please help, or any message that you have for me. Thank you. So she's got a situation going on here. Needs direction.
Greetings, dear one. Yes, it's Archangel Michael. Your life purpose is both as a teacher and a healer. You, in previous lifetimes, have been a powerful healer and a powerful leader. And what is blocking you is your fear of what other people will think and of, again, of persecution. This is important now that you begin to trust your own instincts and listen to your own soul for your own guidance. For what is happening is that the blockage is simply that you were afraid of being persecuted, afraid of being made fun of, afraid of being wrong, afraid of failure. And yet at this time, this is about allowing your soul to guide you so that you can move forward into your healing and your teaching and your leadership capabilities. This is a beginning point for you, but you will grow into it if and only if you make the decision at this time that you will begin to trust yourself, that you will begin to honor yourself and begin to honor the beautiful spirit that you are and the gift that God gave you as a healer and a teacher. This is your time. This is your now. This is your time. This is your now. Go in peace. And we thank you. So it's about, really about trusting the process and moving forward. So like when you asked me originally, you know, how I started all this, for whatever reason, I was never afraid of it. I was dedicated to it. I must have known that this was my soul pathway because I've devoted my life to this. I did have to reconcile my own fears about telling people, you know, that I channel, and particularly channeling the Holy Family. And when the book came out and the story of, you know, Jesus did not die on the cross and that he married Mary Magdalene, had a family and continued to live on, those pieces I had to reconcile with, but I'm comfortable with that. So I would say to her to begin to be comfortable with her own skill set, to begin to trust within herself, and then that will really help her to move through the blockages. So if she has a mentor, a guide, or someone she can help her, or a healer that could help work with her to remove those blocks, you know, energetically, that would be great. Or, you know, perhaps have a spiritual counselor like myself or someone else that could help her to shift through that. Because it feels like she has tremendous gifts to bring to the world that she does. Her voice needs to be heard.
What a great message. And, you know, Lea, the message that you're giving to all three of these individuals so far really are applicable. Like we can take these words of wisdom, all of us, to heart. Like even though you're giving the message to Amy or you're giving it to B, I could take that message to heart.
Yes.
You know, I could take it. I can let that wash over me too. So it's really
a universal message. Yeah.
Yeah. And she said, oh my goodness, Amy is saying what a gift Lea has.
I'm trying to see it with my glasses. I got to look in here to see what she said. Sorry, people.
She's saying, oh my goodness, what a gift Lea has.
Oh, sorry, I have to peer in. Okay, thank you, Amy. I appreciate that. Yeah. I need that LASIK surgery or something.
Yeah, I think we both do. But that's okay. That's okay. I love the fact that your message, so the messages are so applicable to all of us. So I encourage our listeners and viewers to check out Lea's websites, and then you can order her books because Mastery Teaching seems like a wonderful place to learn to begin answers. And of course, who doesn't like a great love story about Jesus and Mary Magdalene? Who wouldn't like that, right? And let me ask you something about outside influence. What do you think about France? That the theory that Mary Magdalene and her child, that they assume Jesus died on the cross, and Mary Magdalene and her child escaped to France, and that there's a whole industry, if you will, or a whole belief system surrounding that. Yes. What do you think of that? What do you think of that? Is that just like another version or?
No, that's a true story. I have another story. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
After my book came out in March of 2017, a lady from California contacted me, and she wanted to pay for a trip to southern France, to where Mary Magdalene lived in the southern France, in the Provence area. And I was like, I don't know this person, and this person wants to pay for a Mary Magdalene Sacred Journey tour for me. I thought she was crazy, but that was the beginning of the blessings that I received, I believe, for writing this book. Oh. So I accepted and went to southern France, and we followed the trail of Mary Magdalene, and we went to Saint de la Mure, where off the Mediterranean, where Mary Magdalene came in on the boat, and her daughter Sarah. And so there in that village, or in that town, they honor what they call Saint Sarah. At that time, it was hidden, and they thought she was a gypsy. They thought she was Mary Magdalene's servant, but it was her daughter.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So that whole region is devoted to Saint, what they call Saint Sarah. Yes. And I had an experience there in the church where I heard in my head that that I, as Elizabeth, who was the cousin of Jesus and Mary Magdalene's best friend at that time, I heard in my head when I was there that a validation of some of my own feelings of feeling abandoned or alone, and that I was not alone. And as I came back into that center, it was like I was reconnecting to the energy of Mary Magdalene. So at that time, when I went, Mary Magdalene told me that I was to go there to feel and to walk in her footsteps.
Ah.
So I was to follow that trail back in the fall of 2017, that I was to follow in her footsteps and to feel what she felt. So it was an interesting trip. So I would love to go back again to southern France, again with fresh eyes this time. But yes, that whole story of them going there and coming into the Mediterranean, and that's acknowledged there. That's the people there understand that and believe that.
Beautiful. Oh, that's what it's so intriguing and fascinating, isn't it? And I would imagine to actually go there, really, you must be vibrating, with the energy, with your beliefs, everything that you've channeled must really be the icing on the cake to actually stand there.
It was, and particularly where they came in at, I never say the name right, Saint de la Mure, I think is how you say it. There, I really had a profound experience there, and especially in the church. And at that time, I didn't realize that they honored Sarah, who they thought was the gypsy. I said, no, that's the real Sarah. That's the daughter Sarah.
Yeah.
And then come to find out that really was truth. Because I bought a little pendant. I said, well, to me, this is not the gypsy Sarah. This is real Sarah.
Right.
So anyhow, of course, they had to hide everything because people, they were always on the run. So. Yeah.
What an amazing story.
Yeah, it was quite fascinating it was like a, how do I say it? It was like a puzzle piece coming together,
Okay.
So you never really know what's going to happen where, like the lady invited me to go and then it's like, well, this is crazy. And then, why do I need to do this? And then, I hear in my head, Mary Magdalene said, well, you had to go there to feel what we felt and to walk in our footsteps. So apparently I needed to be on that land for whatever reason. So I just always trust what I'm told. Like you said earlier, like I've done all these things in the last 27 years, followed my guidance. I try to do the best that I can with the information that I receive. And, I don't want to use the word obedient, but I want to, be able to serve and do what's, being asked of me. So
I don't know if I'm so glad that you talked about that, because I don't know if people realize when you find a life purpose, as you have, there are many steps to it. And if you want to say obedient or follow through or being guided, I mean, you really take it. I think anyone who's really good at their metaphysical profession or soul purpose understands it's a dedication. So when you express that so beautifully, I mean, you really have devoted yourself to this work of service, and it shows. And I think it really shows. So it's not something, it's not something we turn off in a one-shot deal. It really is a life experience, correct? Particularly for you.
Yes. It's the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
So I've had a lot, I've had people make fun of me. I'm sure my family finds out. Most of my family don't know that I do this work. Most of them have no clue, but some of them do. Just like my sister, this is sort of funny, but she says, people think that you're kind of dingy, or I don't know, they think I'm odd, or, I'm kooky or something. But she says, but things seem to always work out for you, she said. So she's clueless. So she doesn't understand that I'm not really dingy. And the reason things work out for me is because I'm following, my soul pathway and my connection to spirit. So I trust, I have deep faith, and I listen and I try to do what I'm supposed to do. I know I have my own issues and my own ego, And yet I really try to listen to that still quiet voice that guides me. So I've done things where people thought that we're crazy, but I don't regret my work with spirit, because it's been a true blessing to me. It's helped me in so many ways. I don't know, it just brings me great joy. I love what I do. I just love what I do.
Oh, well, you do everything so beautifully, and what a shot in the arm for humanity you are, if I may say that. I would like to express it better, but you really are bringing such messages of hope, love, and joy and encouragement. I thank you so much for doing that. If you're up to it, we got a couple of more questions. Do you feel up to it?
Yep, I'm up to it.
Okay, great. We got some new comments. I just wanted to have you explain that a little bit. Oh, here we go. Here is Psychic Joanne Leo, who is our neighborhood radio personality that does not have a show on Goldylocks Productions yet, but she's a frequent flyer. She's a radio and TV personality. We love her. She is asking you, Lee, she says, I have a question about my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't say what the question is, but she says, I have a question about my daughter. I think her welfare and future.
Okay, I just need her daughter's first name. That's the only thing I need to do so I can tap into her daughter's energy.
What's her daughter's name? Camilla.
Camilla?
Yeah.
I'm scratching my nose because when I'm hearing, I'm going to repeat what I hear. So I don't know if this is true or not true, but this is what I'm hearing. Dear one, yes, Camilla is trapped into a life of abuse. This is indeed unfortunate, for she does not have to go through this trauma or this abuse. Her own self-esteem and self-worth have caused her to be abused. And this is a time not only for you to encourage her, but for her to be able to find her way out of this abuse. For this is very important that we call it escape this at this time, because it is going to be detrimental to her. We are not trying to be negative or fearful. You have asked, and so we are telling you what we see. Please assist her and give her the encouragement that she is worthy, that she is capable, that she has the ability and the strength, and we here on the spiritual realm are helping her to lift her energy and her spirit so that she can move away from that which no longer serves her, so that she can find happiness and be at peace.
Beautiful.
So when I hear things like that, I don't know if that's true or not true, but that's what I'm getting. And so, excuse me?
Joanne said yes, true. Her past choices, and her daughter's past choices have been not good. So.
Okay. I don't necessarily like to say negative things, which is, I don't know if that's negative, but that's what I was hearing. So I just have to repeat what I'm hearing.
Yeah. No, she said you're right on. She said leave right on.
Okay. Yeah. It's important to encourage her to find some sense of empowerment to help lift her up, because I'm feeling her kind of in the abyss, not knowing how to get out of it. So, we'll pray for her that she finds the strength, and the angels help her to move forward so she can, move on with her life. That's what we'll hold the prayer for her for that.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you very much. I have one, I think, that I want to make sure that we get to, because I think it's important. This one, they're not giving me the name. They're giving me Aquarius Yazzie. This person states, I'll see if I can get a name. Aquarius, give me your name, please, so that Lee can tap in. Her statement is, I'm so lonely. I have no one that understands me. I really need some spiritual guidance. I am so confused. Am I a bad person? Am I unaware? Please let me know if you pick anything up. Aquarius, we could use your first name, hon, if you could give us that. If we get to no one else today, I think that we need to do this one, if you agree, Lee, that this person feels rudderless or, on a stormy sea. So let me see if we got any further on the name. You hear it in your voice. Yeah. Okay, did not get a name yet.
That's okay. I'll see what I can get here. The reason I asked for the people's name, because I'm able to tap into the energy, or when spirit works with me, I'm able to tap into the vibration of that person.
Okay.
That's why I do it. Everybody works different.
Right.
And there's nothing to be ashamed of in terms of, giving your first name. Nobody's, we've all been there in terms of having those moments or those times in our life where we've, been lost. So, greetings, dear one. Yes, it is Archangel Michael. We say to you, dear one, once again, it is important that you begin to take level of treatment. It is important that you receive some type of intervention for your mental health and for issues that you are dealing with, we will say with substances. As long as you are not clear or pure in your thinking, you are going to continue with the negative patterns of denigration, self-defeat, self-sabotage. We know that this is a pattern for you, but we say must be your choice to choose to live, to choose to be free, and to choose to be healthy and happy. This is not an admonishment. It is simply, this is your choice. Am I going to choose to continue to live in the lifestyle that I've been living, or am I going to choose to pull myself up by the bootstraps and say, I am worthy, I deserve happiness, I deserve to have a good life. You are in control. You are the co-creator of your life. You have many angels that are stepping forward to help you, to lift you from this dark place and help you to move into the light. So call upon the angels. They will help you. Believe, and so you shall receive. So that can be a little tough love, so to speak.
Yeah.
But it is necessary sometimes to, I don't want to say necessary sometimes, but spirit will be direct to get that person's attention so that they can lift themselves up. So when I work with somebody, I always have to, I never edit the information. I'm just repeating what I'm hearing. So I don't know if it's correct, but that's what I'm hearing. And so really the message is that you are in charge of your life, and that as you change your lifestyle and change some of the way you're thinking, call upon help from a variety of sources to help you, to lift you so you can move into a positive place and then be able to change your life, because you have the ability to do that. This person has the ability to shift their life in a better way.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that. Once again, we can all benefit from that guidance that you channeled. It's such a beautiful message. Let me ask you, I have Chris Tuck. Chris, I don't know if this is male or female. You pick up anything for direction for the next 3 to 9 months. I call upon the archangels for help. Many blessings.
Greetings, dear one. Yes, is Archangel Michael. For you in particular, it is again about focusing your direction on your passion. For you have in some ways been topsy-turvy and you are not sure what it is that you want to do. This is a time in this moment of 2020 of clarity. This is partially the reason why many of you are being quarantined and being secluded, because your souls are calling you to move forward into your life purpose. You are not clear about what you want. So therefore, within the next 6 to 9 months, you are to focus on your passion. What brings you joy? Focusing on the attributes that are your strengths, and begin to access your own internal guidance. Therefore, at this time, until you become clear in terms of what you feel you want, then your life is not going to, as they say, fall into a magical change or pattern. You were in what we call a time of recalibration. You were in a time of revamping yourself and shifting some of your beliefs so that you too can move forward into your pathway. So your future as we see it is not clear cut. This is dependent again upon you. You are to look within and decide what you are choosing to do. You too are a very good leader and you have good business sense. And so if you choose to become an entrepreneur or become a leader in the sense of in the business world, then this is your skill set, but you have not decided. You are still topsy-turvy. And so you see your energy is undecisive. Pray for clarity. Pray for soul guidance. You too, pray the angels help you. But yes, when you feel this passion, then you will move forward and be very successful. But we do see you in the business world being very successful. So I'm not getting a real clear answer because it feels like this person's confused.
Yeah.
And that they don't really know what they want. And so as St. Michael had said, and I think I've said this before, this is a time where in this time of quarantine, our time's almost up, it's time for us to prioritize what is important to us.
Right.
Like I knew when this hit was I wanted to focus more on teaching. And so the last 3 months I've been teaching more. So that is my purpose. So when we begin to get clear about, okay, what do I really want to do? Then the opportunities will come to us. So that's what I would suggest to this person.
Yeah.
Get clear about what your passion is. Get clear about what your skill set is, what you're good at. If you don't know, pray for guidance, pray for help,
Right.
And ask Spirit to help show you your pathway.
What a beautiful message for all of us. Once again, we can take all of that guidance. Thank you, Reverend Lea Chapin, for sharing your wisdom, your guidance, your beautiful messages. LeaChapin.com. Please check out Lea's website. She is an associate pastor. She's a psychotherapist. She's a channel, spirit medium. You know, her readings are gorgeous. Please check out all of her work and check out, in particular, her books, which I believe would be of an outstanding help to all of us. And I really thank you for the devotion that you've shown in doing this work. Thank you, Lea, for spending time with us.
Thank you, Carolan. Thank you. You've been a great host. Thank you. I appreciate you being on, and namaste to you and to all your listeners. So,
thank you. Thank you very much. God bless.
So.
Stay with us next week in the Psychic Flow. We have not next week. Is it next week? Reverend Kevin Lee will be with us. The Seance Room is the topic, and that will be July 9th. Did I skip a month? Let me see if I missed anybody. Nope, I think that's it. Lee is the last of this month. So next time will be Reverend Kevin Lee. Please join us for that. The week after, we have the astounding and amazing astrologer, Jeremy Ryden, who is also a show host. So, and Lee, don't forget, people watch Inspiration from Spirit. Now, is that a TV? That's a TV show, right, Lee? Your show?
Yeah, the live stream, yes.
And when is that on?
Mondays at 1 o'clock Central Time.
Great. Okay.
2 o'clock Eastern.
Okay, yes. Great. Thank you for being with us tonight. See you next time, everyone.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Thank you. All right.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Become a Goldylocks Productions VIP patron. Receive exclusive access to live stream special and other epic perks. Join the Goldylocks Productions VIP community today.